What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paul. This is Pauline Theology's Daily Devotional, man. And we are going through the book of Exodus. We are studying God moving through the people of Israel. And we'll see how he is showing himself then and how it relates to us today. Because the scriptures are powerful, man. And they are relevant even now. And so it's a beautiful thing to be able to go through the Old Testament and share with you the beauty of God in this position. So if you're here for the first time, what we do is help you to trust in Jesus more. This is Trust in Jesus Ministries. And we want to do that by reading through the scriptures. That's why it's Pauline Theology's Daily Devotional, because we're going through the devotion, or we are going through the scriptures in reverence to God to see and know more about him. So I'm glad you're here. We are in Exodus. We're in chapter 1. We're in verse 18 through 21. I think in the last episode I might have said 15 through 18 when I meant 15 through 17. But today we are on 18 through 21. 18 through 21. So if you have it ready, go ahead, stop the tape, see what it has to say, come back, and we'll answer the 4 questions. If you've already read it, let's wait no further. Let's go ahead and jump on into it. See what God has in store for us today. So, what's happening, man? What's going on? Well, what we got in the last episode is Pharaoh telling these 2 women to kill these babies. And what do? They refuse to kill these children, man. They fear God. And that was a choice they had to make. They had to say whether they were going to fear God or fear man. And and the reason I'm laughing and say that is because as soon as I said that, it just reminds me of a quote from Paul in the scriptures. It says they chose to fear. It says, what do you choose to fear, God or man? Because if you're choosing to fear man, then you're not a bondservant of Christ. You're not a slave of Christ. And so that's literally almost what all of Exodus, or at least the first half, well, technically, yeah, the first half of Exodus is about is who are they slaves to? Right now, the people of Egypt, right now, the Israelites are slaves to Pharaoh. But God is going to call them out of that slavery and bring them into slavery with him. He will be their master. Pharaoh will no longer be their master. But the thing about God is that he is a loving and kind and good master. And so even though we're slaves to him, we're free. We're free. And that's the story that we're speaking about right here. And so Pua and man, what's that other girl's name? See, they're gonna be tripping, man. But those 2 ladies, let me look it up real quick because I don't want to leave her out. Moses put her in here, man. Let me say her name too, man. Let me say it too. It is that's it. Shipra and Pua. So Shipra and Pua decide not to do the thing Pharaoh said. But it comes with consequences because where we're at now is that Pharaoh calls these ladies to him, man. He calls these ladies to him and says, why ain't you done what I told you to do? And so they gotta think about this. They gotta figure out what's happening. And it's probably years after the fact that they started, because nobody would know the degeneration of the population because or in such a short time, because it's gonna take a while for them to recognize that the males, which should be decreasing in number, has not. As a matter of fact, they could be increasing in number. And so what happens here is that it looks like I think we are back up and running. So if there's a weird gap or something like that, I apologize. I use an online recorder to be able, and it's been crazy. I don't think it's the platform. My internet just dropped out for some reason, and so I lost all connection there for a second. Not sure why that happened, but anyway, that's life on the road. That's life in a van where you're using power to be able to run your stuff. But besides all that, let's jump back into it. And so there's consequences to the action that they said. Pharaoh comes up and he asks them, what have you been doing? Like, why has this happened? And like I said, it's probably been some amount of time. because they wouldn't know that the amount of males had decreased until a certain time, or actually, I guess in this case, did not decrease, but probably increased, because that's the power of God, is increasing His people. But they would not have recognized that what was supposed to be carried out was not carried out until maybe a generation or so of children being born. And so now, after this time, they gotta figure out what to say. And so the ladies say that, man, these women are vigorous, man. It's like right before they end up having the kids before we even get a chance to get there, you know. And so I think what one commentator said is that the word is really, that I think maybe in NIV is vigorous, but it's really like living or life. And so it is more of an idea of the community that they have, is that where these women are more active in their community and part of the life birthing of their children, while Egyptians maybe took less of an active role in this participation of the birth, and allowed for the midwives to do more of the work. And then that is not the case for the Hebrew women, is that they would do a lot of the work themselves in trying to birth the child. Them, and then part of their community as well, would be there. And so the midwife would, by the time come, not really have anything to do. And in the last episode, we talked about how they would be able to say the baby was stillborn, you know, because they would be there to get to the baby. But because the baby had already been born, and Pharaoh don't want them to just go out and kill these kids. He wants them to do it in secret, because he doesn't want them to think, I guess, badly about who he is and the command that he gave to those people. I don't know Pharaoh's mindset and all these things, but I believe that's probably the case. And so when they got there and the baby's already born, they could not actually carry out the thing that Pharaoh had commanded them to do. And so he's like, man, what's going on, man? What's happening? And because of the thing, and so we get to this, there's two consequences here. The first consequence is that they get called before Pharaoh. And so there is a real threat of danger to him. And if they don't answer in a way that allows Pharaoh to be satisfied, then, man, they could be dead. Now, by God's grace, they did not die. The second consequence is that not only did they not die, but they actually, in a sense, lived. You see, these ladies are probably in the position that they're at is because they are growing in years. They're upnumbered in years, and they still haven't had children. And so instead of having a family to be able to raise on their own, they're helping others to start their families, which in one way is a blessing, but in another way, it's probably heart-wrenching. It's probably difficult and tough that they have to watch so many babies being born, so many houses being increased, and theirs is not. And so God does to them an amazing thing. It says, and he gave them houses, or I think it might have been and increased their household, maybe is what some translations say, or but the essence of the idea is that they're having kids now. And not only that, their families are growing. And so God has blessed them with a thing that they probably most likely longed for their entire lives and had to witness and help others to achieve. And so God has blessed them in this manner. Two consequences happened. One was they went before Pharaoh. God blessed them where they didn't die. Second is that they not only didn't die, but their household increased. They became mothers. They became wives. Wives first, then mothers. But yeah, they became wives, which they may have already been a wife of someone. But then they became mothers. They became a household. They got a family, man. So God was blessing them. And then it said it is because they feared God. They loved, respected, and honored and worshiped God. They followed God. So what does this say about God? Well, it says that he honors his children. He honors his children who follow and obey his commands. That's who God is. He's a good God. He doesn't require anything without giving bountifully. What does this say about man, or what does it say about us, is that we have a decision to make. Last episode we talked about it. This episode we're talking about it. We have a decision to make. Are we going to honor God, or are we going to honor something else? Now there's consequences that we find out is going to happen in both. Either A, God is going to bless us, even in trials. He's going to be with us, walk with us, strengthen us. Or are we going to choose this world and deal with those consequences? Now, not to say that it could have been good, because Pharaoh could have hooked him up, man. Pharaoh could have done so many things because he has all power. So it's not like their life in this plane of existence would not have benefited from doing the thing that Pharaoh had asked them to do. But in the end, they realized that it's better to serve God than it is to serve man. So the application for us today is, what are we going to do? What choice are we going to make? Am I going to serve God because I know that He is worthy to be served? Or am I going to serve myself? Because in the end, that is what it would be, is serving myself, because I am benefiting my own. Even it's crazy to think, though, but it's like I think that the thing that I may be getting from placing something above God is going to make me better. But in reality, when we humble ourselves before the Lord, then our lives will be so much better from now and to eternity. So what are you going to do today, my friends? What are you going to do today, brothers and sisters? Are you going to serve the Lord or serve yourself? Hey, I appreciate you guys for listening. And I think I'm going to come out with one more episode, and then we will celebrate the new year. And so you'll have a good time. Continue to read the scriptures, continue to study, and then we will be back on Monday. I'll see you guys in the next episode.